everyone. My name is Maria. I am a senior lecturer, sometimes an artist, and permanently a cat mom. In this podcast, I would like to talk about my relationship with international business. I want to share my story with you, showing how international business became part of my life, and to try to answer two questions: why international business matters, and why everyone should learn about it. Now I live in London with my other half, an Englishman who is half Austrian. I was born in the Siberian city Novosibirsk. There is not much that is international in my hometown itself, apart from being relatively close to some countries in Central Asia and Far East. My interest in international business began with my excitement about traveling, meeting people from different countries, and speaking foreign languages, which was, to a great extent, influenced by my parents. My mother worked as a journalist and my father as a construction engineer. Now both are retired. Back in the 90s, they were constantly looking for opportunities to learn, strengthen their areas of expertise, and travel abroad for additional training. This is how my brother and I started to get really interested in international studies, communicating with people from different countries, learning from them, and enhancing our understanding of the world. Somehow it became obvious to us that learning just one foreign language, English, might not be enough. Being in Russia, the country that connects west to east, it seems natural that the benefits from knowing a Western language would be greater with knowledge of an Eastern language. This is how I ended up in Novosibirsk State University, studying China, its history, philosophy, and language. After my graduation in 2007, it became somewhat obvious that as a specialist in China, I should probably go to China. My first serious job required me to move to the coastal city Ningbo in Zhejiang province and organize a representative office for a Russian fashion retailer. This is when my knowledge of international became accompanied with business. The moment when a company starts some operations in a foreign country, such as production, import, or export, it engages in international business activities. And this is exactly what the company I worked for was doing. It produced clothes and it manufactured them in various factories across China. So my responsibilities included organizing the legal presence of that company in China, establishing a quality control system, recruiting and training people, visiting factories and negotiating with them, and administrating the office in general. Eventually, I spent 8 years in China. And it was a very exciting time. Obviously, this experience enabled me to learn deeply about the country, which has become a huge superpower now, as well as to get closer with the rest of the world. In Ningbo, I met people from different countries, expats just like me, working abroad doing similar jobs. Some were in the furniture industry, others were involved in logistics and transport, but generally, we all shared common challenges of living abroad and doing business in China. For locals, we also represented one big group of foreigners, or Laowai, how they used to call us. After spending the first 3 years working as a director of a representative office, I got bored. I also felt that some of my foreign friends who worked in multinational organizations had slightly more exciting lives. They traveled to other countries in Southeast Asia, had more diverse responsibilities, not just administrating and managing office in China like I did. I wanted to work for a multinational organization too and see the rest of the world. But I did not have enough skills to apply for more senior roles in large companies. I have realized that I needed to enhance my knowledge and skills and learn more about the theory of international business. As I mentioned previously, when I graduated from university, I could speak the Chinese language and understood the country and its culture. However, the knowledge of business practices, leadership, organizational behavior, and accounting came mainly from doing my job when I moved to Ningbo. I felt that it was not enough and I was missing out. To sum up, I knew quite a lot about international life. However, I didn't have structured knowledge of business. This is how I have discovered the University of Nottingham, which by then had established a campus in Ningbo. I have applied for a master's in international business and successfully graduated in 2011. In order to enter the program, I had to pass an English test, and by that time I had completely forgotten the English language I had learned because I was only speaking Chinese in my everyday life and, of course, some Russian with my family and some friends who I met in China. Luckily, my French friend was willing to help me. By then, he could speak several languages, including Russian. Therefore, he was in a great position to explain me the differences in grammar, composition of sentences, and expressions. The master's program has changed my life significantly. During my studies, I learned a lot about the international business environment, human resource management, marketing, and financial management. But also, it was a good opportunity to enhance my knowledge of business practices and learn from the experiences of my classmates. Most of them were Chinese, but I have also met amazing people from other countries too: Brazil, Indonesia, Nigeria, and the UK. And many of them became my closest friends. Most importantly, by the time when I was finishing my program, I realized that I did not need to search for an international organization. I was already there. The University of Nottingham in China is essentially a joint venture between the University of Nottingham in the UK and Chinese Wanli Educational Group. I also had a chance to see how exciting life can be if you are an academic. My professors were great people who traveled around the world, presented their research at international conferences, and shared their experiences as consultants. I wanted to be one of them. And this is how I started to think seriously about undertaking a PhD. During my PhD studies, I also had a chance to visit more countries as a researcher. I went to academic conferences in the United States and Europe, which made me a fully international person. I've also made more friends during my PhD studies from a great variety of countries: Poland, Sweden, Ethiopia, and Mexico. We had a really great time together. We organized international parties, cooked our national dishes, and of course, helped each other during difficult moments. We often exchanged our experiences and talked about common problems and how people in our countries approach these problems, from the attitudes to education and family traditions to environmental sustainability and behavior at work. Eventually, I became so international. China already seemed too small for me. I started to apply for jobs in academia outside of China. I tried different options and finally got an offer from one of the universities in London. And after spending 8 years in China, I finally moved to London. But this is another story. Did you notice how many countries I mentioned in my talk? I hope this story clearly illustrates how small our world really is and how closely we are all connected to each other. And you don't have to be a celebrity or a child of diplomat to be a truly international person. But to be a citizen of the world, it is essential to learn about international business, either from practice, how I started, or from theory at university. Learning about the international business environment, its elements and networks is very important for understanding how the world functions. It helps us to see business activities in a context, to appreciate how they relate to global forces, and to make sense of our reality. Finally, it helps us to enhance our understanding of doing things in different ways, and just makes life more diverse and exciting. Thank you very much for listening.